What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. Welcome to the very first episode of Space News. I'm your host, Jesse Lindbeck, and in this weekly series, I'm going to bring to you all the current fun and fascinating things that are happening in the world of space, space exploration, science, and technology. So since this is the very first episode, I figured I'd give you a quick rundown of sort of the fun and fascinating things that have happened this year in space. There's just going to be a few because it's the first episode, but make sure to follow me along. Every week, I'll keep you up to date. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the James Webb Space Telescope. Now, this thing is absolutely incredible. It has a launch date, tentatively, of October 31st, 2021. So it's going to be launched this Halloween. I cannot wait for this. It's going to be super exciting. Now, James Webb was a second director of NASA. He was the director during the Apollo space missions, so the first man on the moon, lunar missions, stuff like that. He was in charge, so this is named after him. So this has advanced infrared technology. It's going to be the successor of the Hubble Space Telescope. So the Hubble Space Telescope was around back in the 90s and 2000s, and we have used it to death. I mean, it has seen everything it can possibly see. It's done its duty. It's gone above and beyond. It's time to be retired now. So now comes James Webb Space Telescope, and this thing is going to be amazing. With the amount of technology in this thing, we're going to be able to see the formation of the earliest known galaxies, possibly, in theory. Theoretical, of course. Now, if that's not exciting, I don't know what is. I mean, we could see up to 4 billion years into the past. Now that's exciting. Now the next thing I want to talk to you about is SpaceX's Starship program. Now, this is words that I've never thought I would utter in my lifetime, but humanity has a Starship. Well, a prototype of one. Actually, they have 15 prototypes of one so far. It's in its experimental research and development phase, so to speak. Now, with Starship, it's from Elon Musk's company, SpaceX. They started this back in the summer of 2019 with Starhopper. Now, Starhopper was a little craft with a single engine that went about 100 feet in the air and came back down. It was just a test. It was the first Starship prototype. From there, they made the Mk1, Mk2, which were just pressurized vessels just to see if they could hold pressure. From there, they did the SN series. Now, SN stands for serial number. And right now, we're at serial number 15. And last week, they tested serial number 15, and it went up to about 10 kilometers. It belly flopped back down, and it successfully repositioned itself and landed upright, making it the first, not only first Starship to ever be tested, but the first Starship to be successfully flown and landed. So later this week or next week, they haven't really said, but they plan on reusing Starship SN-15 to see if it can fly twice. And again, it'll be another first. So that's going to be incredibly exciting. And in the next week's episode of Space News, I'll be sure to cover that. Moving on. Okay, so I've mentioned SpaceX. Now, of course, I have to mention Blue Origin. Now, Blue Origin is the rival company. Well, I mean, there can't be any real rivals in a space race, but let's call it rivalry. Blue Origin is Jeff Bezos' company, of which Jeff Bezos has recently stepped down from Amazon CEO to put a lot of his time and effort and resources into Blue Origin in order to catch up to SpaceX. Now, what they have done recently, I believe it was back in April, they successfully launched their Shepard capsule up, I'm not sure exactly at the altitude, but then they re-landed it as well, making it fully reusable, just like the Falcon 9 rocket from SpaceX. So they're proving to be quite the contender now. I mean, I don't think any other space company, a private space company, has done what these two, SpaceX and Blue Origin, have done. Now, SpaceX might be a little bit ahead, but Blue Origin has now opened up bidding to be the first civilian people in orbit on their Blue Origin Shepard capsules. So that's saying something. I mean, you know, if Jeff Bezos is stepping down from Amazon, well, from CEO position, you know he's going to be putting all of his time and effort into Blue Origin, and it's going to be really exciting. So I'll be covering them just as much. Moving on. All right, and lastly, I want to talk to you about the latest and greatest Mars rover from NASA and JPL. Now, this thing is absolutely incredible. They launched it back in July of 2020, and it hit its target perfectly 300 million miles away in the Jezero crater of Mars, which used to be an old ancient riverbed. It landed there back in February 2021. Its purpose is going to be taking rock samples, dirt samples, and looking for any sort of microbial life that could prove that life either once existed on Mars or is existing on Mars. Now, any sort of development from that will be groundbreaking. It's already setting new records because on this rover named Perseverance was a little drone helicopter named Ingenuity. Now, when they designed this helicopter, this drone, they weren't sure if it was going to work because Mars's atmosphere is a lot thinner than Earth's, so the traditional single rotary blade of a helicopter won't work in that thin carbon dioxide atmosphere that Mars has. So the technicians and engineers and scientists at JPL theoretically designed counter-spinning rotor blades that'll generate enough lift in the thin atmosphere. So back in April, they did a test flight and it worked. It flew up something like 10 feet and came back down, real simple, real quick, but it worked. They've since done 5 successful test flights, making it the first helicopter ever to be flown on a different planet, the first drone to be ever flown on another planet, and proving that their theory works. So on the next rover that goes up in the next few years, they could send a lot more of these drones up and cover massive areas, surface areas of Mars, finding who knows what. So anyway, what else is on this rover, Perseverance? It's the size of a car. It's 8,000 pounds. It has 4K resolution cameras all over it. It has drilling equipment to take rock samples. It has microphones. We've heard sounds and wind blowing from the surface of Mars. And it also has a device called MOXIE, which is an atmosphere creating device, a human atmosphere creating device. What it does is it takes carbon dioxide out of the air, out of the atmosphere of Mars, and it turns it into breathable oxygen. They fired this up about a month ago, back in April, and it worked. It created about 5 grams of oxygen. Now that's absolutely groundbreaking, and if we ever do plan on colonizing Mars, which I don't think would be a bad idea, this will be essential to sustaining life. So a lot of groundbreaking things with this new Mars rover. Look it up. There's so many cool things with this, and it's only been there for a few months. So again, I'll be keeping you all updated on all of its achievements. I think it's got another couple of years left of its mission, but like Curiosity, it could just keep on going for as long as it works. Same with the drone Ingenuity. They're going to keep pushing it and keep flying it until it doesn't fly anymore. So I'll be keeping you up to date on that. All right, that's it for now. There's so much more happening, but I'm going to leave you with that. Make sure to like and subscribe. Tune in every week. I'm going to keep you updated with all the cool and fun and fascinating things happening in the world of space, space exploration, science and technology. This is Jesse Lindbeck signing off. Thank you for watching the very first episode of Space News. Catch you later.